It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
So let's kind of pivot to talk about trends to look for, because this is something you are going to need to go back through this video, watch the pros, watch the cons, so you can figure this out, because you're going to have more and more choices. I've met people in the Franklin community here where they owned a software company in another state, and they just told all their employees through this pandemic, go live where you want to. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to close down the traditional office space. That is great if done well. But I want to kind of tell you some trends to also pay attention to, because here's how it started. I mean, I can remember when this came out. It was announced in May that Facebook was the latest tech company to let people work from home forever.
This was the May 21st of 2020, right?
So this is right in the middle of the pandemic. We don't know how things are playing out, but Facebook says, you know what? This is going to be a bigger trend. This is going to be more seismic than we realize. We're going to go ahead and make this available to employees. You don't have to come back to the office. And I can remember a lot of people be like, oh,
that's amazing. It's incredible. It's
I already can. You think about it, you're financial mutants, and you're thinking, wait a minute, I live out here in either San Francisco, Silicon Valley, or some other high cost of living place on one of the coasts. I'm going to take this high salary that I get, and I'm going to create my own little opportunity situation here, arbitrage, if you will, where I'm going to take this Silicon Valley income, and I'm going to move, I'm just going for giggles, we'll say Alabama.
Yeah, sure.
You're going to move to Mississippi or Alabama and try to see how you can get this disparity maximized where your cost of living is lowest, but your income is the highest. Brilliant move. So that's how this all started. But here's what we're starting to see. Google just announced, if you look at the date on this, this was August 11th of this year, August 11th of 2021. Google's announcing, hey, we're gonna potentially start doing pay cuts if you are working from home. And I think this is something to be very aware of as companies are starting to adjust to this new virtual workforce, is that this arbitrage situation that I think a lot of employees thought they were going to be able to take advantage of, and I think many will, just be aware of trends that are going on, because we have how it started, but the reality is that I don't know that all employers are going to let you keep all those savings.
I think we can all agree that the world has been changing and will continue to change, and it'll change at various speeds, and it'll change in various ways, and it'll kind of go back and forth and back and forth. But one of the things you need to recognize is that the way that it changes will have implications on your future. Make sure you understand, okay, at the place that I'm working, what's the job that I'm doing? What's the value that I'm adding? Who are the people that I'm interacting with? Because I do worry that if we just show up every day and do our job really, really well, but there's no intrapersonal interaction, we're not building relationships, we're not advancing, it becomes very easy, like we said earlier, to become a cog, to just become a number on a spreadsheet. And you have to be careful from an employment standpoint if you become that number on the spreadsheet, because it's not uncommon for the employer or the corporation to decide, man, maybe we can get someone else to do that same job or to fill that seat or to sit in that spot for a lower dollar amount, and it becomes strictly a dollar and cents decision.
Well, and look, I'm a small business owner, and I love entrepreneurship, but I know there's also the dark side of people are always looking for ways to find additional profit or to squeeze, and things can escalate quickly. Just like we saw earlier, I just presented that Facebook announces they're going to let everybody live wherever you want. You know, you're not going to have to come back to the office. And then you find out that both Google and Facebook are now saying, yeah, you have that flexibility, but we're going to pull some of it back. I'm worried, is there another tier that we're talking to? And it ties into your COG discussion, Bo, is because I don't want companies, because they already figure out they can save money on rent. They can save money on their employees not being in the office, and maybe even pay them less because they get to live where they want to, so that's a perk. What's to keep them going to the next step, which says, maybe we just outsource this completely to either another company that handles this or another place in the world that has a much lower cost to get employees. So just be aware. I think this is a trend that we've been very aware of, because realize we've been working with clients virtually since really 2007, 2008. So we're on the front end of the wave. But I always say be careful in all incremental decision making. There's usually positives and there's definitely negatives. So we're seeing definitely a lot of benefits, but there are going to be some unintended consequences or ripple effects. And that's why I think us giving you the pros, the cons, and you understanding your why and what actually gives you purpose and happiness and makes you feel fulfilled is going to help you navigate this well.
As you are finding yourself potentially working from home with some extra time, maybe one of the things you want to dive into is taking your finances beyond common sense. And that's where we come in. We love loading you guys up with as much financial content as you can handle. If you haven't gone to our website, make sure you go to moneyguide.com. You can check out our resource page where we have tons of free deliverables for you. We have our financial order of operations cheat sheet. We have tax guides. We have how powerful are your dollars. These are all tools we make available to you so that you can make sure you're making the absolute best decisions with your finances.
And then just to close it out, look, if you've heard about Franklin, Tennessee, you've heard Nashville's a fun city to be around. That's what my youngest daughter, we've gone to enough concerts and enough things. Every time we go to Nashville, she goes, oh, we're in the fun city again, because that's where all the party buses and everything are constantly driving by. If you love the show and you're in the financial industry, you're in the content side of things, go to our websites. We have both moneyguy.com, we have aboundwealth.com. Look at the career section because we are looking to grow the family and love to have you join us. So subscribe if you're watching this, but also consider the opportunity to come join us. I'm your host, Brian Preston, Mr. Bo Hanson. Money Guy team, out.